you, everybody. It's Friday night. It's 7 o'clock. I got this beautiful lady sitting next to me, and it is time for us to get to the heart of the matter. This is Pastor Nick.
And Pastor Frank.
We thank you so much for joining us tonight. You know, tonight we're going to continue on our series talking about depression and loss of hope, the true life killer. We're so glad that you decided to join us for this discussion. We're kind of getting to the end now. We're gonna wrap this thing up this week and next week, but we're excited because we're kind of really getting to that part that's the meat. And here's where we really need you to guys to kind of be honest with us. Tonight we're going to talk about the subject: are you allowing disappointment to destroy you? Now, a lot of people say right off the bat, I don't think so. I think I'm okay. But tonight we want to cover two kind of broad areas that are going to help you to identify within yourself if disappointment, maybe destroying you is a little bit of a strong word, but if disappointment's getting the best of you, or are you getting the best of disappointment? That's a big question that you need to answer, because you really, in order to, I tell people all the time, depression, when you think about depression, when you think about loss of hope, disappointment is like the first symptoms that you get before you slip into or you get into depression.
Right.
When you have been disappointed, and through that disappointment, you start to give up. You start to not pursue. You start to not go after things like you have in the past. Then you begin to get disappointed. Then you begin to slip into depression because things aren't working out the way you envision them.
Lose your excitement.
You lose your excitement for life.
Yes. Disappointment can also lead to illness, anger, many different things.
Yep. Disappointment is, it's kind of like, I like to call it, it's kind of like a stroke. You know how they say a stroke is a silent killer?
Right.
Disappointment, when it comes to depression, it's the silent killer. You don't deal with it. You do things. So the two things we're going to cover tonight. Number one, you do things to numb yourself from disappointment with activities. We're going to talk about that tonight.
Right.
How we do that. We numb ourselves, and then we go into denial. And tonight, what we want to talk about too is these 10 steps. Or 10 identifiers, if you will, not steps, that you're in denial about disappointment, about hurt, about failure, about how things have turned out. It's imperative that you understand these things. It's imperative that you're honest with yourself, because until you can own it, you can't overcome it. You can't overcome something you don't own. You can't overcome something that you think don't need overcoming. And next week, what we're going to talk about is how do we overcome? How do we win? How do we get not into depression, not into loss of hope? Next week, we're going to really hit that. So this week, we really need to help you be honest. So we're going to give you some signs. We're hoping you're going to be honest with yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be in a bad place. But again, this is kind of where it starts. So the first thing, let's talk about people that are struggling with disappointment from the past. They numb themselves with activities. The first negative way to drown yourself out of disappointment is random activities. Right. I mean, that's and we as pastors, we see this all the time. And there are many, many different ways. So let us cover a few of these ways tonight with you. And as we're talking, I want you to think about these things and kind of be honest with yourself. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows you're being honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, on next week, we want to talk about how we're going to help you to overcome and win. But we can't help you overcome and win something that you won't acknowledge.
Amen.
So there's a relationship in your life that you've been hurt by. There's a failure in your life that you've been hurt by. There's someone in your life that's hurt you. There's an event that happened in your life that didn't go the way you thought it should have went. And here you are 15 years later talking about it from a place of it really hurts you. It still bothers you. That conversation still, affects you. Then, when you see John Boy on Facebook, and maybe back in high school, you were supposed to marry John Boy, and you did marry John Boy. And now every time you see John Boy, that bothers you. That's a disappointment that you've not dealt with.
Exactly.
Especially if you see John Boy and then you end up having a glass of wine. Or you end up, talking bad about John Boy and what John Boy's doing now. Those are all signs that there's still unfinished business there. There's disappointment there. So as we talk about, like I said, number one, do you numb yourself with other activities? What's one of the first identifiers of these other activities?
Partying.
Partying?
A lot of parties, going out.
Going out?
Yep. Drinking.
Pastor Frey don't know what partying is, so she kind of says that because it's on there, but
yeah, I missed out on that one.
yeah, she's not a party.
My dad was a preacher. He didn't allow it.
Amen. But what we mean by partying is, you're always out and about. You're always out there just trying not to think about tomorrow, trying not to think about the pain of the past.
Yeah.
You're out there getting high, you're drinking, whatever. Sleep.
Yes,
sleep is another.
Sleep all the time.
Yeah, you're sleeping all the time. You don't even want to get up. You're not even motivated to get out of bed.
For work or anything.
Why? Because you're trying to numb disappointment. I mean, sleeping all the time, late to work, late to church, just late.
One of mine was eating.
Eating.
Yes. In my marriage, early in my marriage, that was one way I was dealing with disappointment.
You were disappointed with me?
Yes. I was disappointed with you.
Jeremiah, come get her.
And with myself.
So you would eat?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
You was a little fat thing, wasn't you?
Oh.
She plumped up real nice. Yep.
Yes, I was. I had a lot of weight on me at one time.
So did I.
Oh, yes.
So I guess mine was too, because I was about, 340? Yeah, I was about, Pastor Nick was almost 300. I was 347 pounds at the height of my glory.
He was a whopper.
I was a whopper.
He put on 100 pounds right after we got married.
Yeah, just being married to her.
100 pounds. Well, anyway, yeah, I was doing my share of eating as well.
Right.
Because I didn't drink. I knew that would get me in trouble, right? We think sometimes these little things we do, like gaming and eating, won't cause us any trouble.
That's another one.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Gaming.
Always playing games. That was mine.
Yes.
I was a gamer. I'd go play games, man. I get on people all the time about all the stuff that they do. And it's just, it's signs that you're hiding disappointment.
Amen.
Gaming, and especially with men. Men are notorious for this. I mean, they just do everything to try to numb and try to hide. They get married. Marriage isn't nothing like they thought.
Right.
Right? And then another one is sex. You get tied up in lust, pornography. It now always becomes about sex. It becomes about alcohol, getting drunk. You're always high. You got to be high to hide the pain of what? The disappointment. Life didn't turn out the way you thought it should turn out. So now you're constantly hitting the gin and juice, right?
That's right.
You're always high. You wake up in the morning. And then where does that lead to? That leads to drugs, right? Starts out with marijuana.
You get serious.
Then marijuana leads to pills, and pills lead to cocaine, and cocaine leads to heroin. Those are all, when you talk to drug addicts, when you talk to alcoholics, when you talk to perverts, they'll all tell you they were hurt. There was major pain.
Yes.
There was major disappointment. So we know about those people. That's not the majority of you. That's not the majority of the people that are watching right now. You guys are the ones that just have disappointments that have disappointed you, but you've just dealt with them.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, people get mad at me, but another numbing or a way that we self-medicate or we numb is ministry. I mean, people are like, Pastor, how can ministry be a way that we're numbing ourselves with an activity from disappointment? Well, think about it this way. Let's just say you failed at life.
Feel like you failed.
Or feel like you
Sure
failed.
ain't dead yet.
Where's the best place to find the failures? In the church. Why? The church is the emergency room for failures. The church is where the broken people come.
Right.
That's what it's supposed to be. So in church, you're going to find two things. People that will empathize with you, understand you,
Amen.
pet you, make you feel good about that. This is why we have so many homosexual relationships in the church today. Because hurt women come to the church. Hurt men come to the church.
Amen.
And then you get other hurt people that empathize with them. And, yeah, I know that man hurt you. And, they start all that dialogue.
And no one confronts the real issue.
Yeah, men aren't good. Men are evil. And you got somebody that's consoling you and petting you, right? That's one way in church. The other way in church is you have people that are in worser, that are worse off than you are. So now you feel empowered. You feel okay because I'm not the only one that failed. I'm not the only one that did drugs.
That's right.
I'm not the only one that fell off the wagon. Listen to all these testimonies. The pastor was broke. I feel good about being broke now. The pastor failed. I feel good. Just listen to Christian music. I was talking to my wife about this today. Why is it in Christian music we always got to sing about the struggle? Why does it always got to go to the struggle? We always got to talk about the struggle. It's like struggle in ministry are synonymous. We got to change that to where victory in ministry is synonymous.
Amen.
Where we're talking about how we overcome. But again, ministry, those are all things. Social media.
That's a big. Social media is always a problem. They spend all day, most of them, on social media. I've seen, I was with the teens one night when we were teaching the teens, and I had everybody look at the hours. And some of them.
Well, you made them do it, right?
Yeah, some of them were ashamed of the hours they had spent on social media.
How do you think social media is a number from disappointment?
Because you're into everyone else's business in life and what they're doing, what's going on over here, and what they're into, and what did they eat, and where did they go, and and then you got to think about what am I going to put on social media to make me feel better and look good. It's time consuming. It's very time consuming, especially
and you can live a lie, right?
When you got to make it up, it's time consuming.
Right. You can live a lie on social media, make you feel good about your disappointment. Matter of fact, you can make your disappointment actually not even look like a disappointment.
That's right.
Right? So you could have gained a lot of weight and be overweight, and you could turn to them filters.
Put a filter.
And put some stuff on social media. It's just not true.
Yeah.
Go back 10 years and put some pictures of you from 10 years ago.
2 photos.
Right. Yeah. Why do people do that on social media? They are covering up the disappointment and the hurt because they've let themselves go.
Right. It's so true.
Yeah. So, numbing yourself with activities, that's one area that you need to think about. Again, we're going to talk next week about how we're going to overcome these disappointments. How do we overcome the disappointment? We're going to talk right about this. But the next thing we want to look at tonight, we want to spend the majority of our time on, because this is the place that I find the greatest struggle is to truly get healing. Because again, we really want to help you understand how you get over this denial. So tonight we want to go through 10 signs, if you will, that you're in denial, that it's bothering you or it's affecting you. Whatever that disappointment is, it's really weighing more on you than you believe. Because again, to come out of the night and tonight's show being with a success, you got to come away saying, you know what? I'm letting the fact that I lost that job really bother me.
Right.
I'm letting the fact that I dropped out of college really bother me. I'm letting the fact that I gained 50 pounds really bother me. I'm really letting that bother me. I'm letting the fact that, I wasn't a good mother. And I didn't do a good job of raising my children. I'm letting that bother me. I'm really letting that bother me. So tonight, let's talk about avoiding or the signs that talk about, are you in denial? So what's number one, huh?
You avoid talking about the issue. A lot of times I've talked with people where they don't want to talk about the issue. They'll talk about what caused it, who caused it, why, and it's never about them owning up to the fact that I have this issue. My mom did this. My dad did this. You're the reason why I have fear. You're the reason why I can't do this. You brought me up in this perfect world.
Right.
And now I'm not able to exist in the world on my own. You get all these type of, I guess, excuses.
Yeah. Right. And what it does is, or what the excuses do, the excuses keep you from facing the truth of the reality.
Denial.
Right. Which are, in that case, like you were talking about, that, they are that you're now an adult. And I understand you didn't have the best of this or the best of that, or maybe you had too good of that. But your parents did the best job they could raising you.
Amen.
Now you're on your own. So whatever they did that was wrong, you need to be looking at how do you correct that, right?
Right, because there's no one perfect.
Right.
There's no perfect parenting.
So number one is you avoid talking about the issue.
Right.
That's number one. Number two is you use other people's behavior as evidence that you don't have a problem. You use other people's behavior. I witness this all the time with kids. What grade did you get, Jeremiah, on the test? Well, Dad, everybody else in the class struggled with the test. Matter of fact, the highest grade in the class was a C. What grade did you get on the test, Jeremiah? Well, Dad, I got an F. But like I said, everybody else in the class struggled.
F minus.
I experienced this at work. The gold or the BDR is, 2 SQLs a week. So the end of the week comes. The first question everybody wants to know is, how many did the other guy get? What does that got to do with anything? Your goal, what you're striving for, was 2. But if everybody else got 0 and you got 0, that in itself justifies you getting 0. You're in denial. You need to be looking at, why didn't you get an A in the class? You need to be looking at, why didn't you get the 2 SQLs? Right?
Right.
I mean, and you probably deal with this a lot in kids ministry with, how do the little kids do it all the time, right?
It's always somebody else.
Right. I forget, you were telling me one time, maybe one of our grandkids just always talking about the other one. What did he do?
Right. And I always ask them, and what did you do?
Right.
What part did you have in it?
Right.
Who started it?
Right.
So a lot of times they tell you what the other one did, and do you come to find out they started it?
Right. We have parents, man, that'll come to us, and we don't want to talk about the other kids. We're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about your kid and what your child did. Yeah, but no, that's it. People struggle so much with that. That's a sign that you are in denial. What's number 3?
You promise future control to ward off concern.
What does that mean?
I think that's like promising that you're gonna do better.
Right.
Kind of maybe get them to admit that's their way of not dealing with the issue, said by saying I'll try.
Right.
I've been trying.
Right.
I'm going to do better.
Right.
Why are you riding me?
Yeah. You know, this is an interesting one, especially when it comes to control. You know, with kids and raising kids, sometimes as parents, you know, because we fail and we don't want to face that failure, we have that disappointment. A lot of times we give in to our kids. And really and truly, it's us being in denial that we've not done a good job of disciplining our kids. So as a result of that, we give into it.
Yeah.
We give up ground. It's very bad.
Because we feel like it's our fault.
Right. We're not willing to sit down and say, like I did with my kids.
Yeah.
I sat down with all my kids and said, look, for the first 15 years of me being your father, I have failed you as a father, right?
Right.
I told them all. And when I got done, I said, and you'll never, ever use this against me again, because I'm telling you I failed. I am repenting. And I'm also letting you know I'm going to do everything in my power to be the best father I can be in the future. But I'm not going to ever try to make up for the past. See, that's where parents mess up.
Right.
You start trying to make up for your past failures because you have not dealt with them. Number 4 is you deny a problem outright. You just totally refuse to even say there's a problem, to even identify that there's a problem. That's denial. I mean, when people around you are saying you have a problem. I was on the phone with one of our members the other day, and I was sharing with this person a problem, and I gave them an example. And they literally, I'm their pastor. I love them. I have no reason to lie to them, right? And they literally, no, I don't look at that way. That's what they said to me. Okay, I understand, but that doesn't change. So what is that? That's a problem. That's denial. You can never, ever fix that until you're willing to say, you know what? Here's what I would say. If my pastor sees that in me, man, I need to think about that. Why would he? Jeremiah and I have had many conversations. I've talked to him about, challenges I see that he has, things that I kind of feel he sticks his head in the sand about sometimes. Not one time has he ever said, no, Pastor, that's not me. He thinks about it. He goes away. He ponders it. I was talking to another member just today about something they had sent me over. And man, I said, man, this is just not good. They could have said, well, no, I think it's good. Well, you sent it to me for my opinion. I'm trying. So when you do things like that, when you make a decision to absolutely deny it, there is no hope for you to ever correct it. And you got to have you got to be willing. Number 5.
You rationalize your behaviors.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm good.
Right.
I'm happy.
Right.
Mind your business.
Right. Yeah. That won't hurt me.
Right.
Right. Everything's going to be okay. It's all right. I mean, that's.
Stop tripping.
Yeah. Stop tripping. A little drink won't hurt. Right. A little marijuana never hurt nobody. I'm just going to go to the strip club one time.
I just go once a week. That's all, Mom.
What's it going to hurt if I sleep with them?
Right.
Right. You start to rationalize, these things that that you're only doing out of pain. You're only willing to sleep with him because the last guy left you because you didn't sleep with him. And now you have the pain of him leaving you. So now you're rationalizing the fact that maybe I need to do this.
You even rationalizing about the person and really not looking at the person that you're thinking about doing this with in a true light. Now
Wow.
You're making him someone that he's not or she's not.
Right. Number 6, and this is I call it the creme de creme, right? This is the best one, even though there's 10 of them. You blame others for your problem. To me, this is the ultimate denial. And I just want to tell you this, and I just want you to hear my heart. Nobody is responsible for your outcomes but you.
Amen.
I don't care if you had problems as a kid. I don't care about the environment you were raised in. We all, this whole notion you hear in America right now, this thing about equal, nothing's equal. Get equal out of your mind, get it out of your thinking. It ain't never going to be equal. You could call it white privilege, brown privilege, rich privilege. I don't care what you call it. It's never going to be equal. Never. Every one of us are always going to have a different starting point. And we got to maximize and make the best of where we're at. And you will never do that, ever, blaming other people. You can't be. That is the ultimate sign of denial.
I think this is a good place why people live there in denial, because they live in this land, in this world. Everything has to be fair.
Right.
And it's just not reality.
Right.
And we have so many illusions that we live our lives by that just simply are not reality. And until we give up on those illusions, we can never come to the truth.
Right. And what's really bad is when we embed that in our kids. When we embed that in our children's thinking, when we tell our kids, you know your kid's sorry. You know they suck. But you're going to sit right there. The coach ought to be starting you. No, he shouldn't. Your child is goofy. They cannot play. But you're going to lie to them. You're going to blame the coach. You're going to blame others. Your kid ain't failing in school because of the teacher. Your kid's failing in school because of you. But you're going to blame the teacher. But pastor, the teacher, no, it's your child. It's your responsibility. If your child can't play football, teach your child how to play soccer. If he can't play soccer, teach him how to play the drums.
Find his niche. Right.
Find what they are good at.
Right.
Stop trying to make them good at what you weren't good at. What parents do all the time.
Yes, we live.
And then through that, you start allowing your children to see at a young age you blaming other people. I'm not telling you the coach sometimes aren't unfair. I get that. I'm not telling you sometimes the teachers aren't bad. I get that. But blaming others will develop your children to live a life of denial. You blaming others. It ain't your boss's fault. I know you think he didn't give you the promotion because he doesn't like your hair, or he doesn't like the shoes you wore, or maybe he didn't like the way you combed your hair. I don't know. Whatever it is that you're blaming him for, stop blaming others. You have to accept that you are in control for the issue. That's how you work on some of that. What's number 7?
You ignore the advice and concern of loved ones.
Okay.
Maybe they have a shopping issue. You say, let's sit down and talk about a budget.
Right.
Or give them ways to maybe not spend so much money.
Yeah, I talk to my wife all the time about her sweet tooth, and she just denies it.
Oh, you would have thrown me under
the
bus, eh?
What was that called, Jeremiah, that y'all had today?
The blackout.
The blackout cake.
I only ate a small amount.
She had a blackout. Matter of fact, I
shared it with Jeremiah.
I'm going to write Cheesecake Factory. That's offensive to me. By the way, I want them to change the name of the cake. I don't want to call the blackout cake. That's offensive.
We get a whiteout cake.
No. We just need to have the out cake.
Oh, it's silly.
We can't do that.
It's good. Whatever, Cheesecake Factory, blackout cake.
She's not supposed to be eating the blackout cake.
I shared it with Jeremiah.
And Latifah got the cheesecake. Jeremiah got some blackout too.
He sure did.
Everybody got blacked out but me. And I'm the white. I got whited out. No, I don't eat sweets. Like my wife says, you don't eat sweets because
now you're in denial.
See, the prime example of not receiving,
denial.
not receiving from your loved ones. My wife used to always tell me about my gambling, and I always thought I had it under control. She used to tell me. She never nagged me about it, even though I was destroying her life. She didn't do that. But she said, you know, Nick, look at what you're doing. You're wasting your money. You're leaving here at 10 o'clock at night. You're pawning our jewelry. I mean, don't you think, no, I ain't got no problem. I'll get it back.
Yeah.
Just ignored and ignored. Number 8, you have stints of sobriety. So whatever we use the word sobriety relative to drugs or alcohol, whatever your issue is. Maybe you're an angry wife, or maybe you're an uncaring husband, but you have stints of being nice. You have stints of being caring. That right there in itself it's a sign of denial. Because why is it only these stints that you have? Why can't you dig in to why are you that way and really get it right? What's number 9?
Number 9 is you engage in manipulative recovery of efforts.
Right. You engage in manipulative recovery efforts. So it's like me. I used to play this little game with myself when it came to gambling. And I would hide money in my shoe when I came in the house. And I let my wife see my winnings. I'd say, I won tonight, and I'd have like $1,000. And I'd give her $500 to make her think I'm okay, but I had 5,000 in my shoe. She just saw the 500. And she was happy that I came home with something. And I would plan that out. Man, I got 1,000 for the next 4 days. I got $1,000 a day to gamble with, right? So that's manipulative. You manipulate things. My wife, she'll say something like, we'll go to the movies. And again, like I told you, she got a sweet issue, in denial. So she'll say, well, I'm going to get Raisinets because they have nutritional value.
It's a fruit.
Yeah, it's a fruit. It's a raisin. So it's okay to eat that. Or she'll say something like, I'm going to skip dinner so I can have a Slurpee and a tube of popcorn. A tube. And when she goes to the movie, she's got to have candy, Jeremiah. She's got to have popcorn. She's got to have a soda, a water. Pastor Nick's got to get a second mortgage to take Pastor Franny to the movie.
And guess who shared with me and eat it all? Pastor Nick. You're in the church.
Number 10, the last one as we close. You consistently fall back on the it's my life defense. You consistently fall back on it's my life defense. Listen, folks, we just want to help tonight. Like I said, disappointment is step 1 to depression. If you don't deal with disappointments, if you operate in denial, if you make a decision to self-medicate by what I call having activities, so you're not facing the things that disappoint you in life, those things can slip into depression. They can slip into loss of hope.
Right.
That's the bottom line. And we don't want you to get there. So what we want you to do, one little homework assignment for you. I want you to really be honest with yourself, everybody that's on. And I want you to write down 3 things in your life that are the biggest disappointments that you've ever had. Whether you think you're over them or not. Maybe you raised your kids bad. Maybe, you filed bankruptcy. Maybe you dropped out of college. Maybe, you got fired from a job. Maybe you got arrested with a prostitute. I don't know. Whatever has happened to you in your life that you view as a major disappointment, I want you to write those down.
And we've all had them.
And we've all had them. We all got some checkers in our past.
Right. All how you overcome.
Everybody's done something in the boot, in the back,
Amen.
in the corner, in the dark that they're not proud of, that they're not happy about.
Amen.
The reason why I want you to do that is next week, we're going to wrap this message up. The whole message on, depression and loss of hope, the true life killer. We want to wrap this up next week. Maybe we can do it next week. It might take 2 weeks. But what we want to talk about is how do we overcome disappointment? How do we overcome loss of hope? How do we keep ourselves from getting to depression, getting to that state? You know, we love you guys. And again, thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining. If you feel this can help anybody, all the shows are online. Tell a friend about it if you feel they struggle with disappointment, they struggle with depression, if they struggle with loss of hope. But more than that, invite them to come next week, because next week we're going to talk about how do we overcome it. Thank you again for joining us on another segment of The Heart of the Matter. And until next week, we love you, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching tonight. If this show's been a blessing to you, help us be a blessing to others. There are 2 major ways to do that. The first way is with your financial support. We'd love for you to partner with us. With as little as $10, you can help us reach about 1,000 people. It's pretty awesome, right? Every dollar helps us get this message to the world. So just go to ltmorlando.org/THM to give today. And second way, you can show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at LTM Orlando. Thanks again for watching tonight, and we'll see you next week on The Heart of the Matter.